But I mean, it's strange because like Dettelbach, the last ATF director, was kind of left of center, somewhat anti-gun. And I was very critical of his policies, and I don't know the man personally, so I was vocal about that. So I don't think he was thrilled, but there were a lot of people who were under his chain of command who would reach out to me and say, "Hey, man, thanks for speaking up," because most agents they just want to go after violent people who misuse guns. It's not about the gun. It's not about, infringing on people's rights. It's about going after people who are using guns to commit robberies or gang shootings. I mean, that's the stuff that I was passionate about. And yeah, are there a couple knuckleheads thrown in the mix? Sure. But yeah, for the most part, people have been supportive and appreciative of people like you too, that want to get the truth out, cause I mean, if you listen to the news, you don't hear the truth. You hear talking points, So
yeah, I mean, we'll talk on that for a second, because the crazy thing about the ATF does not have a good public presence on social media. Actually, the social media makes it look like they just come and just take your guns to outstanding citizens.
Yeah.
And that's what the social media kind of conversation is. They catch a lot of hate from gun guys, like crazy amount of hate. And then on the other side, I have friends who are in ATF. I have real ATF buddies who are, they're apprehending these criminal organizations that have gun violence, and then they can't get someone to prosecute them. So it's like, I know that side of the story. And then the media and social media makes ATF look like kind of a bunch of jokers. And it's unfortunate that this is what happens to all of our, I mean, I see it with the Border Patrol. It's exactly what happens with the Border Patrol. They get completely talked down to on social media. And then the truth is, like, what an incredible job it is. And so it's really interesting to hear some of these stories. And this is why, Project Thor is a fascinating one, because it sounds like an initiative that's actually working, that's actually stopping guns, that's actually, doing things, especially in a time right now when the heavy cartel violence in Mexico is through the roof. And what are they using? Well, American guns, you know what I mean? And so we have really nothing like this currently in place that is slowing down the trafficking of firearms. But then you have a Project Thor who gets shut down after 2 years. It was highly successful. And then there's no word of why. There's no information that explains why the funding was dropped and who dropped it and why. Right. And that's why I just think this kind of stuff just drives me freaking nuts.
Well, I mean, let's go a little further than that. I mean, you were in law enforcement and you get it. So look, everybody thinks that the feds come and crap on the local cops, right? But this, brother, there's a lot of infighting within the federal government, where when I worked in New York, got along really good with the FBI, worked with the DEA all the time. When I got to Arizona, we hated the they hated us. I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised if bodies were left in the desert. I mean, from each other. We got along with HSI, for example, in Phoenix really well. The people in Yuma despised us. So, I mean, to get all of these agencies to play together in the sandbox is an accomplishment. And my understanding in Project Thor, that was happening. So, I mean, you talk about whole of government approach. It doesn't happen very often. It's happening right now with the immigration stuff because Tom Homan is, putting the pressure on and the administration wants that. But man, there was a lot of turf battles and people fighting for territory and organizational pride and ego that got in the way. So yeah, the funding getting pulled, especially when you had all these organizations working together and cooperating, there's something that perplexes me. But again, hearing that Salazar was not thrilled with ATF and not thrilled with some of the cases going on and the timing and the Mexico lawsuit really makes it look like it was political and probably came from a little higher up than folks suspect, than just some person in headquarters deciding we're not going to fund it. That to me is the troubling part.
Well, let me ask, from just that statement alone, what does the government get out of defunding something that is successful? I don't understand what the, idea behind that would assist the government in anything. I just don't get why they would even do that.
No, I agree. But I mean, let's go back to Fast and Furious, right? Like the reason I spoke up was because my agents weren't allowed to do their job. They weren't allowed to, when they'd have confessions, when they'd seize guns, going to cartels, mind you, no prosecutions were happening. I mean, that's what I wrote my book about, because the U.S. Attorney's Office in Arizona were architects of Operation Fast and Furious with ATF. I'm not trying to say ATF didn't deserve the blame. They deserve what they got. But, and then you look at with Thor, man, there are people getting slaughtered in Mexico, right? And I get it. The cartels are bad people, but it's not just cartel people getting killed. It's Mexican cops. It's Mexican civilians. So, yes. I mean, any opportunity that you have to stop that carnage, you should stop that carnage. And that's why I was so really upset back in the day, 2010, 2011, 2007 on, actually, because I was fighting with U.S. Attorney's Office for years. But here they're actually making inroads where they're actually seizing guns. They're identifying these networks. To stop doing that while the carnage is still going on makes absolutely no sense to me. Not even just as a law enforcement officer, as a human being. Because Mexicans are people, man. The cartels, yeah, they're bad people. But the people that are living there, down there trying to raise families, trying to live their lives, man, they're getting hit by these bullets too. So it's unconscionable. So I don't know why. And I hope Senator Grassley and his people get to the bottom of it. And I hope the taxpayers find out exactly what's going on,
Let me ask this, because of the new administration involved, it's going to be more pro law enforcement, right?